In this video, we're going to talk about time-weighted return. So this is another way to estimate what the internal rate of return is for an investment into a project. However, rather than using a simple interest approximation, we're going to use accumulation factors over a time period and multiply those together to get an overall accumulation factor that will lead us to the time-weighted return. All right, so let's look at this setup and then go through the explanation. So the beginning of the year, we've got a fund worth $80,000. On May 15th, the fund was worth $100,000, and at that time, $10,000 was taken out. Then on the 23rd of August, the value dropped to $80,000. And we put in $15,000 at that time. Then at the end of the year, the fund is worth $90,000, and we're asked to calculate the time-weighted return. So again, we're going to use accumulation factors over these time periods to get the overall accumulation factor, if you will, and that will give us our time-weighted return. So let's talk about these accumulation factors. It started at $80,000. It ended at $100,000 for that first time period. So using an accumulation factor, I would take the ending balance and divide it by the beginning balance. So this accumulation factor for the first period would be $100,000 divided by $80,000. Now, at that time, $10,000 was taken out, which means that the new balance is now $90,000. And then going forward to time at August 23rd, it's dropped to $80,000. So the accumulation factor in this case would be ending balance divided by beginning balance. Ending balance is $80,000, beginning is $90,000. So that's the accumulation factor for this time period. And then put $15,000 back in the bank. And then the 31st, it's at $90,000. So beginning balance, after adding in the deposit, the beginning balance is $95,000. The ending balance is $90,000. So again, your accumulation factor is ending divided by beginning. So that's $90,000 over $95,000. All right, so then to get the overall accumulation factor, we'll take this accumulation factor, the first one, times the second one, times the third one. Not unlike problems that we've done before when we've had changing of interest rates from one time period to the next. We just multiply accumulation factors across to get the overall effect of those accumulation factors. So same concept here. So we'll take the three accumulation factors and multiply them together. That must be the overall accumulation factor, which should be 1 plus interest rate. So 1 plus the time-weighted return. So if you do this calculation, you should get 1.05263. So that's why the time-weighted return, when you subtract the 1, will give you the 5.263%.